Hello everyone, I am Ruchi Garg, working as Teach the English in Kendriya Vidyalaya OCF, Chandigarh. I welcome you all in English class. Today I am going to take up a story number 8 from class 10th. The name of the story is The Hack Driver. This story has been taken from the book Footprints Without Feet, and the author of the story is Sinclair Lewis. We shall begin with specific objectives of the story. First, understand the theme of the story, that is, things are not always what they appear to be. Second, understand the text locally and globally. Third, infer meaning from the context. Fourth, draw out the character sketch of the main characters. So dear children, let's start with the brainstorming session. Here you can see a photo. Please think about this photo and tell me what can you see in this picture. You can take 1 minute. The quote written over here is, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are. This is what we are looking in this picture. At a first glance, we feel that the girl is very innocent and the man sitting over there seems to be quite devilish, dangerous. But what is hidden behind them? Actually, who is dangerous? The girl seems to be dangerous because she is having an axe in her hands, and the man is having a bunch of flowers, a bouquet in his hand. So, from this, we can conclude that we cannot judge anybody by the looks. One more picture like this. Have a look at this picture and again think that what can you see in this picture? You can see a man and a small child and their shadow. So look at the photo carefully. See, I think this is the best picture to represent that looks are deceiving. Means whatever we see cannot always be true. The ones we think are nice and sweet usually not all the time turn out to be horrid. Sometimes we meet people who look very nice and very sweet, but actually they are not that much sweet. They are dangerous. As you can see in this picture, the man looks out to be very dangerous and the child seems to be very innocent. But when we look at their shadows, it is vice versa. So this was about our brainstorming session. Now let's go through the theme of the story. The theme of the story is quite related to the brainstorming session. Let's have a look. The Hack Driver is the story of a very cunning manipulator, Bill Oliver Lutkins. It also shows that appearances are often deceptive. Now, what does it mean? It means that whatever appears is not always true. It can be deceptive. The story teaches us to be alert and aware of the people around us and not fall in a trap by trusting any stranger easily. Before starting with the story, let's have a look at the creator and the writer about the author. Author Sinclair Lewis was an American novelist, short story writer, and playwright. He is the first American writer from the United States to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1930. He created his characters with wit and humor. His first book, Hike and the Aeroplane, was published in 1912 under the pseudonym Tom Graham. Let's understand the meaning of the title, The Hack Driver. The title of the story is very appropriate. Hack driver is a noun. It means someone who drives a taxi for a living. It can be a taxi, it can be a cart or a cab. The whole story revolves around a person who is driving a car. So we can say that the title is quite apt. There are two main characters. Let's have a look at the main characters. The first is narrator. Our narrator and the main character is a young lawyer who is gullible. Gullible means simple or innocent. The hack driver makes him a fool out of him. Second main character, Oliver Lutkins. Oliver Lutkins, a dishonest man who tricks others and receives summons from the court. He is a great storyteller. He takes up the name of Bill Magnuson to fool the lawyer. So this was about the meaning of the title as well as introduction of the two main characters. Now let's have a look at the key points of the story. The narrator of the story, the young lawyer, completed his graduation in law and joined a big firm as a junior assistant clerk. From there, he was given the dirty and dangerous job of serving summons. Now, what is summons? Summon is a legal order to be present in court. He gets an opportunity to go to a village, New Mullion, 40 miles away from the city to serve summons to Oliver Lutkins, as it was a part of his job, so he couldn't deny. A helpful hack driver at the station offers to take him in his cart at the cost of $2 an hour and find Lutkins. The driver takes him to all the places where Lutkins could be found, but fails to locate him. The driver then shows him the village and describes the country life. Country life means rural life. Our narrator was fond of rural life. He wanted to have a visit in the villages. They do not find Lutkins, but the lawyer is very happy to find such a friendly and helpful man. They visit Lutkins' home and meet his mother, who frightens them away. She is 9 feet tall and 4 feet thick, quick as a cat and sharp-tongued. Sharp-tongued means used critical language, harsh language. The lawyer ends up paying for 6 hours to the hack driver. He returns to the city. His chief is angry at his failure to find Lutkins. The chief sends the lawyer back the next day with the man who knows Lutkins. Then the young lawyer, our narrator, shows him the helpful hack driver. His companion tells him that the hack driver was Oliver Lutkins. The lawyer feels embarrassed. Embarrassed means uneasy or uncomfortable, and unhappy when he serves summons to a laughing Oliver Lutkins. What hurt the lawyer the most was that Lutkins and his mother laughed at him as if he were a bright boy of 7.
In The Hack Driver by Sinclair Lewis. The narrator of the story was a junior assistant clerk at a big law firm. He had imagined that his work would be drafting legal documents. Sadly, all he was asked to do was serve summons, that is, deliver notices to people to appear in courts. His work mostly took him to shady parts of the city. Sometimes he would even get beaten up. One day, he was sent to a small town called New Mullion to serve summons to one Oliver Lutkins. Lutkins was needed as a witness in a case. The narrator was thrilled that he was going to the countryside. But what did he find when he arrived there? A muddy town with unpainted shops. New Mullion was not the typical charming country town at all. The only welcoming sight there was a red-faced 40-year-old man standing by the station. The narrator thought he looked friendly, so he approached him about Oliver Lutkins. The man replied that one would probably find Lutkins in Fritz's shop playing a game of poker. He also offered to drive the narrator around in a hack and help him find Lutkins. They haggled over the price of the hack and then they were off. As they travelled to Fritz's shop, the driver talked about the notoriety of Oliver Lutkins. Apparently, Lutkins owed everybody in town some money. Here, we learn the hack driver's name, Bill. Our narrator liked Bill quite a lot, so he told him why he was there. They didn't find Lutkins at Fritz's shop, so they moved on to Gustav's barber shop. From then, they walked down the main street to Gray's barber shop and the pool room. But no luck at all. They seemed to be missing Lutkins by a matter of minutes every time. The narrator was getting hungry now. He offered to buy lunch for Bill, but Bill suggested a picnic lunch on Wade Hill. For just $50, his wife would pack them a lunch that would be better than what the local restaurants served. While having lunch, the narrator listened to Bill's stories about the charming inhabitants of New Mullion. The narrator, who came from a small town himself, thought about moving to the place and practicing law there. They resumed their efforts after lunch. A passerby told them that perhaps they could find Lutkins at his mother's farm. The woman was apparently a terror. She had once threatened to skin Bill because he couldn't treat her trunk as carefully as she had expected. She certainly seemed frightening when both of them confronted her on the farm. The narrator admired Bill's courage when he sternly told her to let them search for Lutkins. She retreated and let them in. But once they were inside the house, she grabbed a hot iron rod and threatened to burn them if they dared to search her house. Not surprisingly, Bill and the narrator ran for their lives. That woman, she was a terror. However, once they were safe, they went around the house, but Oliver Lutkins was nowhere to be found. Unsuccessful, the narrator left New Mullion and came back to the city. He was now in deep trouble with the firm. The firm's case rested on Lutkins's testimony. Our poor narrator was called a shameless, useless fool. His superior shouted at him and ordered him back to New Mullion. This time the narrator was accompanied by a man who had worked with Lutkins. At New Mullion station, the narrator was surprised to see Bill talking happily to Lutkins's mother. The narrator pointed this out to his companion and was stunned by the answer. Bill was Oliver Lutkins himself. The poor narrator was hurt, obviously by the way Lutkins deceived him, but also by the way Lutkins and his mother laughed when he served the summons. Then they pleaded with him to join them for coffee at a neighbor's place. Apparently, these neighbors were the only ones who could not meet him the previous day.
Thanks for watching the video. For the detailed explanation, kindly watch the second video.